We're here at the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. My name's George Lair. I'm here with Kenneth Lovelace and Jimmy Lovelace, who were members of the Five Jets, who will be honored in the very soon with a star on the Walk of Fame here at the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. I want to find out a little bit about the Five Jets, how they got started, and a bit about their career. I have a scrapbook here. Now it shows the group, the Go-Go Five, talks about them originally. Now that was before you came into the group, isn't that right?
Right before I came in, George. Yeah, they started before I started with them.
And
Excuse me, George.
go ahead.
Yeah, that really started, like I said before, it's hard to really start this without mentioning Junior Thompson to start with. And Christine's husband, Virgil, was the one that gave us that name
Right.
to start with. And when we first went to Birmingham, whatever name it was the Junior was using, I can't even remember that. We were talking about it earlier. But Virgil wanted us to have something you could put out on the marquee that would catch an attention.
Right.
And he said, we'll make it Junior Thompson and the Go-Go Boys.
Yeah.
And so we was working at the Belvedere, and that's what Hubert thought that was good. Hubert Harris, the guy we was working for.
Yep.
So, and then later though, the Go-Go Five, that's when Kenneth come with us. Junior decided that it was just too much for him what we were doing.
Right.
So he left and come back home, and then immediately we went from the Go-Go Boys to the Go-Go Five, and that's what that is.
Now y'all had quite a bit of success here locally before you went down to Birmingham, and that was as a result of your Aunt Christine
Yep.
and her contacts that she had in Birmingham. Is that right?
Yeah, she played a lot of those supper clubs and stuff down there, Carmichael's and all that, and on the big clubs.
The club up on the mountain,
Yeah,
where
the
she
club.
worked.
That's
And
right.
she had Aunt Christine was just an awesome showman. And she had her piano and organ, and she sat between them, played one with her left hand, one with the right hand. And there was a round pedestal that somebody had built her built for her that it rotated. She might be facing the audience when she started over here, and by the time 5 minutes or 10 minutes gone, she'd be facing over here. So she had a unique thing, and she really was a showman. And she stayed behind us all the time about, you've got to do this, you've got to do that.
You gotta dress
Smile,
right. Smile,
show
dress
us you're
right.
having a good time on the stage, so the audience will have a good time. And of course her husband Virgil Pearson, he was a real promoter.
Yeah.
And,
he went to these fairs. He promoted fairs.
Yeah. He was manager of the Alabama State Fairground.
Yeah.
That's the reason why somebody asked me the other day what I felt like was the highlight of what we did at that time.
Right.
And he booked those big rock and roll shows
Yeah.
in Birmingham at the Civic Center.
Oh yeah.
And he booked us on the same one with Bill Haley and the Comets,
Oh wow.
and the Drifters, Lloyd Price, Laverne Baker, Little Anthony and the Imperials. I won't never forget.
Do-wop.
Little Anthony was about 12 years old, and his group, I believe it was 4 guys besides him, and they had those black suits with those red capes.
Oh yeah.
And they come out and they did those different routines like Michael Jackson and his group. Yeah, they were just awesome. And there was probably 5,000 people there that day, and about maybe 60-40 audience-wise,
Oh, yeah.
African American and white.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
mixed.
And Bill Haley, when they come around out with that rock
Well,
around
they
the
worked the
clock.
auditorium there, didn't they?
Yeah, the old Civic Center, see, that was right there around 8th Avenue North and between 18th and 19th Street or something like
Right.
that. Now the new one is close to the same place over.
Right.
But that was a highlight for me, other than the Elvis and Hank Thompson thing at Sheffield Community Center. That was
Yeah.
probably, and it wasn't Elvis, it was Hank Thompson's 10-piece Western swing band
Oh, yeah.
that we were
Roscoe
looking forward to
Valley Boy.
see. Yeah. I mean,
Now,
That's it.
now when y'all first started playing, Kenneth, before you joined the group to form the Five Jets, who were you playing with?
I played with a lot of little bands, Eddie McDougal and the Southern Playboys. And I played with him for a long time, and I was playing mostly fiddle then, you know. And one thing I'd like to bring up, when I was playing with Eddie, we had the community center in Sheffield. Hank Williams Sr. was booked in there.
yeah.
And so we opened the show for him. I was about 12, 13 years old playing the fiddle. And we went out and played our show, you know, and we kept waiting on them to get there, you know, and it was running a little late. Finally, the bus pulled up. Hank Williams and the Drifting Cowboys rode on the side, you know, and I said, boy, that's great. And Jerry Rivers, he was a fiddle player. I really loved his fiddle playing. I kind of liked a lot of his licks, you know. So anyway, they got in, they seen part of our show, and then I got to meet Hank Williams, and he was downstairs in the dressing room. I went down there, and he said, "Nice to meet you, son." I said, "Nice to meet you, Mr. Williams." He said, "I heard you playing up there." He said, "You sound good. Just stick with it." And then I always remember Jerry always got mad because I met Hank Williams, and he never got to meet him.
But yeah, that's the way I was about Hank Thompson. See, Elvis, that's why Mama was out. It'd been out maybe a couple of months. It was beginning to hit the charts.
Oh yeah.
But what we were really looking forward to when he called, see, Hank Thompson called from down in Mississippi somewhere. The bus was broke down.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't know if they was going to make it. This was an afternoon show at the Sheffield Community
Community
Center.
Center, yeah.
And so the guy, that promoter that did those shows, I can't remember his name to save my life, but he called Junior. We knew him. He called Junior and asked us if we'd come over and do 3 or 4 numbers because he didn't know if Hank Thompson was even going to get there or not. And so when we got there, of course, Elvis and Bill and Scotty were backstage, you know. We
Yeah.
just kind of piddled with them because, I mean, they were just like us. They were just musicians more.
Oh, yeah.
And I was waiting on Hank Thompson. That's what I wanted to see. And I won't never forget it. I was standing at the back door, and I heard that bus coming up the alley. And Elvis was on, man. We'd done been on, did our 3 numbers or whatever it was we did. And I heard that bus coming up through there. And Elvis had just done his last song and did an encore and was, you know, the thank you, ladies and gentlemen thing, whatever he did. And the MC come out. They pulled the curtain, the MC come out. And I pushed that back door open at the community center right there. And Hank Thompson's band, they opened the door of that bus. And they come filing out there with their instruments in their hand. They walked up on that stage, plugged in them amplifiers, plugged this in, and the MC guy, he was still out there talking. And somebody gave him the signal, they was ready, and they pulled his curtains, and they never broke stride, man.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
they were
Just came right off the
right
bus,
off the
right on
bus,
the
right
stage.
in there. I mean, they didn't even tune. You know, a lot of times you'll hear the picking at a fiddle, maybe, you know,
Yeah.
or a guitar or something.
Didn't
They
do
never just did anything like that. They just come off that bus and went in and played.
That's the way Hank did. But when he came out there, though, boy, and he stepped out on the stage, he just know how he stood and everything. He had that guitar and he did Long Gone Lonesome Blues. Boy, he tore him up.
Well, when you, you know, George asked you about, right before you joined us, so, you know, you was working with Bud Deckman.
Bud Deckman out of
Then
Memphis.
out of
Yeah.
Memphis, yeah. Bud was supposed to be the next Hank
Hank
Williams.
Williams, that's right. That's
Yeah.
what they portrayed.
And
him as, you know. And
his first recording, I think, he did at Sun, then he wound up at Meteor Records too, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but then when Kenneth come was our entire format changed. Junior, of course, Junior, he was a good entertainer. Junior
Oh, yeah,
Thompson was.
he was. He was.
Junior's biggest problem was he wanted to write songs and record.
Right.
I mean, we was playing like anywhere we wanted to, anytime we wanted to in Birmingham, and Junior just, that wasn't in his plan.
Yeah, he wasn't
You
satisfied.
know, like
He
one
wanted to come back home.
Right.
Yeah.
One night, we hadn't been there 6 weeks, we went on Mike South Pacific and did a show at 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
We packed up, left Mike South Pacific, went to the Anglers Club of downtown and did a show at 9:30.
Wow.
Packed up and went to the Belvedere Club and played from 10:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh.
And
Yeah,
that
we
was
did that
kind of a
sometime.
little bit out of Junior's stride.
Yeah.
I mean, Junior was a great guy, but he stayed homesick all the time. He just he really didn't like it.
He liked
And,
that car. What was that car? He had a 55 Dodge.
He had a 55 Dodge.
55 Dodge. I never forget that.
I almost wore
black and yellow.
Right. I almost
Black
wore
and
the
yellow.
Black and
Yeah.
yellow.
It had a black top and yellow. I
Yeah.
almost wore the top of the seats out of that thing, putting that big bass line inside and out of that thing. And I definitely was tickled when the electric basses come out.
Oh yeah.
Now the-
all it inside.
The Sheffield Community Center was one of the main places to play around here, but there was also the Florence Armory.
Yeah.
That
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
were those the two main
yeah, they were.
venues?
Yeah, and the Tuscumbia Armory did some. Me and Kenneth did square dance there a couple of times with Tommy Barnes and Mutt McCord, but the Dixie Jamboree on Friday night in Florence where it really and I think that's what Bobby Denton was really talking about whenever he did his movie thing that they showed you. Most of everything really just kind of started right there. I mean, like our band, there was 4 of us in Junior. I don't think Charles Sand and them played there that much, but he would bring in stars, and Kelso did a good job with it. But everything was Billy Sherrill. Rick had a studio over the drugstore, and things were just kind of moving right in that area right there. You know, the bands were, and when we got involved in that pet milk contest, that was more than we had thought it would be to start with. Even though we did win it and won a trip to Nashville, got to go backstage at Grand Ole Opry. And Raymond got to talk to Chet Atkins, and he was just like in hog heaven. Don was talking to Marty Robbins.
You know, did that midnight.
Yeah, with
midnight
12
show.
o'clock, the radio
12 o'clock
show.
After the opera was over.
Yeah.
Okay, now when you say Raymond, that's Raymond Lovelace,
Yeah, my brother. Yeah.
your brother. All right. So the Five Jets was made up of all cousins or
All but
brothers.
one.
But
All but
one,
one.
the
Yeah.
drummer, is that right?
Right, the drummer, yeah. See, Don Moore, Don was related to us, and he lived at Threets there, which is right by Cloverdale. So but basically, whenever we have our crowd, whenever we go, Cloverdale is just closed. I mean, everybody's Cloverdale there. That's where most of all of our following is. But we, you know, like I said before, I mean, when we first started with Junior Thompson, it was just me and Raymond, and then of course, like I said before, when Kenneth come, everything changed for us, including what we wanted to do in the future. When we met, finally got to meet Ross Russell out of Atlanta, that booking agent. We wanted to go on the road. We had a show band. That Christine worked with us, had a choreographer work with us, and things, little things to do that would catch attention. So it was. Really,
So that's when you started doing the Southern Circuit.
right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what was the Southern Circuit? What did that encompass as far as cities?
Well, we worked Mobile,
Biloxi.
Sage Grill, and Biloxi, Gus Stevens, which was big supper clubs.
Yeah,
At that
Carmichael in
time.
Birmingham, Domino Lounge in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And we added the Stork Club in Shreveport and the Rendezvous Lounge in Monroe.
The Old Dutch in Panama City.
Old Dutch in Panama City, Florida.
Yeah.
Iroquois Gardens in Louisville, Kentucky was on the list. And we, like I said before, when we met Ross Russell, the Four Mints, they was one that introduced us to him.
That's right.
This
Yeah.
group that we
Look at him.
met, Carmichael, and they told Ross about us, and Ross Russell come to. He booked just about everything in the Southeast in his club,
Right.
Allied Artists in Atlanta. And
Peachtree
but
Street.
I won't never forget though when he sat down and told. He was sitting with us at the table, and he told, if somebody would learn, if y'all had a saxophone in your band, I could book you 52 weeks out of the year. So saxophone, we don't even know nobody that even had anything to do with saxophone. And when Raymond told us he was going to rent one and learn how to play it, we thought he'd done lost whatever he had. And in 3 months after Ross said that, we opened back up in Birmingham at Carmichael's, and Raymond played saxophone.
That's right.
Well,
He kept us awake a few nights.
Practicing all
boy,
that
he
thing.
stayed with it, you know.
Yeah,
12
and
hours a day.
he really learned it in that old Tri-Cities gas building there on South Court Street. It belonged to Jack Clemens. He was upstairs and had a window there. Coming across the bridge on Mitchell Boulevard, you could look up there and this guy was standing in the window with his saxophone. It had a thing in the paper, and Mama kept it. And I looked when Mama passed away everywhere trying to find that. It was in the paper of Raymond.
Raymond up there.
Yeah, the guy in the window was the headlines of the thing, and every once in a while he'd open the window because it'd get stuck. It'd be stuffy in there, and you could hear him squeaking and blowing that saxophone. But
He
he
did
but he
good.
but he did it.
He sure did. And we started, after that, we started doing group numbers, and like the Platters, and all those
Four seasons.
Four Seasons, and the doo-wops
Yeah.
Yeah.
guys, you know.
Yeah.
It opened your repertoire up.
Oh yeah.
That did.
See, you know, like I said before, I mean, when Kenneth come with us, I mean, everything we kept doing. Of course, we did a lot of Elvis stuff. When Don in his younger days, I mean,
did Elvis
he
good.
was really good. And we did, you know, all of the top 10 stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But we never tried to copy anybody. We just did their song, did our own.
Did it
version.
our way, but we did the song.
Right.
Yeah. good.
And it was
Now, did Junior let you know that he wanted to come back home, and then you contacted Kenneth to come down and join you? How exactly did that transition work?
well.
Were y'all without?
Well, the only time when Junior, Junior kind of let us know that this was really wasn't what he had in mind,
Yeah.
and so Christine had talked to Kenneth a couple
She
times
kept
about
talking
coming
to me
with
about
us,
it when I played with Bud Ackerman and stuff
in
like
case
that.
he did.
Okay.
Yeah, in case he did leave, and finally Junior come home one weekend. He'd been working with James Joyner, and they'd been writing songs. James had that tune record company,
Right.
And so when we got ready to play on Wednesday night that week, Junior didn't come back,
That's right.
and he called and said he just tried to stay home.
Yeah.
So we got on the phone, called him, and I got in my car and went up there and stayed a couple of days with him, and we followed one another back. And there was no hard feelings for Junior. Junior had been wanting to leave for 2 months,
Yeah.
and
He just went into the traveling,
yeah,
you know.
Now, y'all started doing this Southern Circuit, and at some point it took you over to Shreveport, Louisiana,
Yeah.
and that was really a big thing for you guys, right? Is that
It was.
Where things
went there
kinda-
the first time was 55, 56, or 7, or 58 or 9. Which one was it?
59.
59.
We went in the summer of '59. I think it was 3 or 4 months before y'all went.
Went there for
Army.
2 weeks, didn't we?
Yeah. And of course, everybody kind of has their place, and that was ours.
Yeah. It was.
I got a cold.
But you went into the Army, and Don did as well, is that right?
Yeah, Don and Kenneth
Yeah,
went
we
in,
went in
yeah.
the Army in
For
59.
6 months, yeah.
59 for 6 months.
59 for 6 months, and that's when me and Raymond and Ed and Terry went to Jackson
Right. Played the
and
wagon.
played at Wagon Wheel Club.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they got out of the Army, we went right back out on the
Yeah.
road.
Sure did.
Went to Savannah Beach.
That's right. I remember that.
Oh.
Yeah. Phone calls.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had some interesting times in our years, but Shreveport really was destined to be our home base. I
Yeah.
mean, our following there. I remember we was late the first night. Raymond had to go. We was in Atlanta,
Yeah.
bound and determined we was gonna go through Mobile so he could see Jeanette. And I said, Raymond, we'll never make it. Oh, we'll make it, brother. We'll make it. Well, we was late getting to the Stork
Right,
Club,
Stork
and
Club.
Mike hired another band that night. We had to pay for the band,
That's right.
but by the time we was there 2 weeks, you couldn't get in the front door of that place.
Yeah, see, we worked there 1 or 2 times before he wanted us to stay. Was
Yeah,
it twice, wasn't it?
yeah.
And the third time he said he wanted us. Yeah, I said, I wish y'all to stay, you know.
Yeah, so we stayed there. Well, we went that trip overseas, and then we come back to that.
Now, somewhere along there, you got a female vocalist.
Yeah.
Uh,
62, yeah, Dawn Glass.
I'm glad.
Yeah, Mike come in one afternoon, we were rehearsing, he said, I've been thinking about this young girl my brother told me about. She's really good, right out of high school. Said,
Yeah.
I've never heard her, but Gus said he heard her and said she's real good. And I'm thinking about hiring her for a while to kind of give y'all a break. We said, fine. And I'll never forget when she come in, she'd been in a car wreck, she still had abrasions on her face and everything. Scared to death, never been in a nightclub in her life.
Yeah.
But it was love at first sight, I tell you.
Yeah,
She was. She'll be here with us.
Yeah,
during there.
she'll come down,
Excuse me. I hope we can X out this cough I got.
and she stayed with y'all for several years.
Yeah, she'd work with us for about 3 or 4 months, and then she'd leave for a while, and then she'd come back, and then she'd leave a while for the next 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
She was good. She was really good.
Now, I happened to see a video on YouTube of your show that you did. I believe it was July 23rd, 2015, over at the Shoals Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a girl singing there with y'all. Was that
That
the
was
same girl?
That was Dawn, yeah.
Oh, excellent voice. Huh?
Yeah, she's really,
Yeah, and
she's
not-
really
and
good singing. And
When I introduced her,
personality.
when I introduced her that night, I won't never forget it. She joined us. She was 18 years old in 1962, and I looked at her and all this. I said, figured out, golly, bum, is she that old? She didn't look like she was 50 years old.
She kept her age.
Because she
really
takes
good.
good care of herself.
Yeah, she looked good.
Yeah, she's a real sweetheart.
Yeah,
Real,
she's-
real
she loves
sweetheart.
to sing and entertain.
Let's see now, I have some pictures here. This was 1955 National Guard Armory at the Dixie Jamboree over in Florence. And I think that's probably you on the fiddle.
That's me on the fiddle.
And who are you playing with there?
Oh, is that
We
baby?
never did figure that out, did we?
That looked like a young Porter. But it wasn't, though. Golly, I can't remember who that was myself.
Well, it was a few years ago.
Way a long time ago. I was probably about 14, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah.
14 years old, something like that.
And then this is Happy Hal Burns on his stage. And that's Jimmy and Don Moore, Junior Thompson, Raymond Lovelace, and Ray Horton.
Yeah.
Now he's
He's just standing back there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he was a friend of ours.
That's
yeah.
before I went with y'all.
Yeah, yeah. That Happy Al Burns thing. Yeah, that we got so busy with that. That was one of the things that Junior, because see, we'd do his TV show at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then he'd have that mobile home set up out somewhere at the shopping center, and he had that glass front and that lounge chair and those 2 speakers on the front, and he'd white cowboy hat, and he'd be playing records. People would be all gathered around. That was before malls and interstate.
He drew a crowd.
And the guy that drove his truck would come let that stage down on the side of that mobile home, and we'd come out and play about 30 minutes. So
now this thing just folded up, and then
Yeah.
when they got there,
let
folded
it
down.
down.
And,
That's right.
And it had,
Formal
it had
stage.
2 steel rods about 5 foot, and they screw up under the bottom of this right here when he let it down. And when we got through, he pushed it back up, and it latched up here and took
He
it
took it
off,
another-
pulled it
another
off somewhere
location.
else. Yeah, we did that for probably 2 or 3 couple of months, and then we started doing Duke and Dixieland, Duke Rumor over on the south side of Saturday afternoon. That was kind of like a Dick Clark show for Birmingham, American Bandstand. And we kind of quit doing the Happy Al Burns show thing because one time we did the TV show at 10, Happy Al Burns Ramblin' Ranch studio at 12 o'clock. Then we had to be at Duke and Dixieland at 2 o'clock. So we
Right.
kind of, that was too much. So.
That Dukes and Dixieland was a pretty big show.
Yeah, and Duke and Joe were the two
Disc
main
jockeys.
disc jockeys in Birmingham.
Dan Brennan.
Everybody, I mean, if you didn't listen to Joe on WVOK or Duke on WSGN, you know, you didn't listen to radio back then. I mean, they had it all. And what was real unique about them, they were never at the radio station. Both of them had remote units in their basement of their house.
Yeah.
And they purchased their time from the radio station and got their own sponsors.
Yeah.
And Joe had a real nice studio
Yeah.
there next to his little radio
Nice
thing in
studio.
his basement.
And they would just broadcast from there.
Broadcast. They just eat breakfast and and people would go by WVOK out on the highway and wave like if Joe was listening to him. He wasn't even there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah, he was at
He was
home.
on. And Dick was the same way.
Yeah, they were great.
Good people too.
To get back to this Happy Hal Burns thing, did he have the Cadillac that we have here in the Hall of Fame at that time? That he, or it's not a Cadillac, it's a,
That's
what is that, a Chrysler?
No, that's either a Pontiac or Buick. I rode in one of them with him one time, and I'll never do it again. If he down Birmingham, the
That might
other
have been
white
the one.
cowboy.
He either had that one or the other one. I think he had a couple. Did he?
Yeah, he had two cars. The one that I rode in with him, that got the old bull horns on the front,
Uh-huh.
and that one's got the saddles. That's the one I rode in with him too. He had
Yeah.
the coins, the saddle, and he'd be blowing that old horn going downtown, and I'm laying down the front floor. Boy, I don't know what to say.
He attracted attention, boy.
But he was a real.
He'd get a
he
show
got-
up.
Yeah, he was a real popular person
Yeah, he was.
in Birmingham. Everybody loved him.
Now, I notice in this picture also, you've got a white stand-up bass.
Yeah, that's a K, and if I had it now, oh, what it would be worth if I
I
had it
bet.
now. Yeah, a vintage guy come through here, a friend of Raymond's come through here and bought some stuff from that Christine back a few years ago. And he asked me when he saw that picture, he said there wouldn't be even a remote chance you'd have that K upright bass, would you? And I said, no, I wished I did. And he said, you know how much that thing would be worth? No,
Scary.
no, don't tell me. I don't even want to know how much it'd be worth. But when we played that night in Birmingham with Bill Haley and the Comet, his bass player, he was really struck on that
bass, yeah.
bass. He said,
I bet.
well, where'd you get that? And of course, I told him where I bought it. But the only thing I was looking forward to then was getting something smaller without having to push it inside and out of the car every time we play somewhere. You know.
I gotta tell a story of that Belvedere Club. When I started with Jimmy and all the guys there, see, I was playing. I had a Gibson flat top. You know, didn't have no pickup or nothing. And Raymond got me that B. Armin pickup put in the middle of it. You know, so I was playing in. You know, I was trying to do some leads, but it was trying to eat my fingers up. You know, pretty good. So we had this guy coming in who wanted to sing with us a lot. You know, his name was Gene Flippo. And he'd come in and he'd sing Ooby Dooby, Roy Orbison song too. And so he did that quite a few times, you know. And finally he come in one day and he had this electric guitar, a Fender Stratocaster. And I said, where'd you get that? He said, I just bought it. And at the time I was driving a 49 Plymouth, black 4-door. And so I don't think he's really playing it too much or anything. I said, he said, what? He said, what's that model of that car? I said, 49 Plymouth. He said, I like that car pretty good. I said, let me see that guitar. And I played on it a little bit. Boy, that thing played so good, man. It was just awesome. And I said, we struck up a deal there. And I said, what would you take for that guitar? He said, what would you take for the Plymouth? I said, we threw it around for a little bit there. He said, I said, well, I'll tell you what. I'll trade you the 49 Plymouth and for the guitar and give me $100 to boot. So I got $100 and the guitar, and he got the Plymouth.
Wow.
So that's a true story.
Yeah,
And that was your first electric guitar?
First electric. Well, no, Silvertone, I think. Was, after that, wasn't it?
That was
Yeah.
Sears.
Sears, and I wish I had that now.
Oh, I bet.
Ooh.
Now, when y'all were traveling, 5 guys and a bass in a car would not work. So y'all must have had a couple of cars that you.
We were in one car one time. One would be in the back seat, one would be in the middle of us, one would be laying over this way, one would be laying over that way in the back seat.
Yeah, we went up.
Had neck cramps.
Yeah, right after Kenneth come with Virgil had a friend up in Gadsden. It's either VFW or one of them places, and booked us up there, and we just had the one car available. Bobby Cox had just bought a brand new '58 Ford,
Right.
and he wasn't gonna let us put nothing in that '58 Ford.
No,
because he
he
was
wouldn't.
particular about that thing. But Don had bought a brand new '56 Ford Fairlane 2-door hardtop, and we finally. We knew we couldn't go in that old car. I had a '52 Plymouth Club Coupe.
No
And
way.
so we loaded everything in Don's '56 Ford. We got a rack with them old rubber sticks on top, like
Oh,
so,
yeah.
and got the tie downs, and put Bobby Cox's drums up there. And it was cloudy, and we just thought, sure, if it starts pouring down rain, we in trouble. And we put that bass in that '56 Ford. And and the drums on top, and we drove up to Gadsden and played that night. That one job. I mean, like Kenneth said, I mean, the front. See, I mean, you had to maneuver that thing, and you couldn't just say, "I'm gonna put your bass in the car for you." I
And
mean,
go
I
inside.
had to do it because I mean, it was
Certain
just
way.
one way you could do it. Because I wasn't gonna take that bridge off that thing and put it back on there no more because it's stuck up about that high. But yeah, we did it one time. We had some interesting times. I mean,
For sure.
interesting.
Mm.
Now, from some of our past conversations, you've talked about going to New York.
Yeah, we went on that.
Also.
Yeah, we went on that one northern trip.
Buffalo.
We went to Dayton, Ohio, played the Tropics.
That's right.
For about a month, and we went from Dayton, Ohio to the town casino in Buffalo, New York, and played at the town casino. That's where we worked with Bobby Darin and Kenny Rogers.
That's right.
And
Get married to Sandra Dee.
Yeah, I was defending Kenny Rogers here not very long ago to somebody. I mean, then, I don't know how he is now, but Kenneth, you probably run into him. But back then, he was just a good old boy like the rest of us. We'd sit around and rap and talk about stuff. We worked in they had a small lounge, and then the big lounge, and then the big room where Bobby Darin was when he come. And Kenny had worked with the Bobby Doyle Trio.
Right.
Bobby was blind, played piano.
That's right.
And they had a drummer, and Kenny played 5-string
Five-string, yeah.
upright bass, 5-string. That's the first one I'd ever
Right,
seen, the
me
last
too.
one I ever seen. And he sang, and Bobby Doyle sang, and the drummer. And we just got to be, we just, 6 weeks, I guess we was there together,
Oh,
close
yeah.
to it.
Hair
And
on
then
the
we
feet.
left there and went out to Williamsville, New York, close to the city, and
Glen-
at Glen Park Casino.
Park Casino.
Yeah, and we worked there, with Jackie Mason,
That's right.
comedian that was in
Oh, yeah.
Cash. Yeah. He was the
So
craziest guy
funny.
ever in my life I've ever
He
seen.
was crazy.
And and then we left there and went to McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey and flew out and went to
Goose Bay.
Harmon, Nova Scotia, and Goose Bay,
Goose Bay, Labrador.
Now, who was booking you at that time?
GAC out of New York was doing it
That's right.
then. We got hooked up with the Air Force when we was in Shreveport. Back then, master sergeants ran all of the officers and NCO clubs all over the world. And we met Sergeant Bodine at the Barksdale Air Force Base, and he turned us, sent in pictures and some information to us to GAC out of New York.
Right.
And they booked us at the officers and NCO clubs. It was good pay, C-124 transport flying.
Yeah,
And,
backwards. You sit backwards.
Yeah.
On those Air Force planes, like you're sitting far towards the cockpit, you're sitting backwards.
Yeah, and we got to watch our first
The military
KC.
does that.
We got to watch our first KC-135 tanker refuel a B-52 bomber
Yeah,
in
there.
flight when we was flying over the side of it. So I mean, it was, you know, it was interesting.
Cold, though. It was
All
cold,
the people
though.
that we met and everything while
Yeah.
we was working for the Air Force, because like I said before, they really treated you right.
Nice.
They called us like 3 or 4 years after the last time we did it, still wanted us to do it, but
Come
we
back.
didn't. We didn't ever do it. But it was good times.
Huge, yeah.
Now, y'all did some recordings for Meteor Records. Was that in Memphis that y'all did that?
Mm-hmm.
And when would that have been?
55.
55.
Yeah, because see, Sam Phillips, of course, his mother and our grandfather Love was brothers and sisters. And Sam, of course, we knew Sam was busy. He had all those people. And but we called him and he said, well, come on up. His secretary, well, I can't remember her name. She'll tell you what to do when you get here. Because we had did a demo at Rick's little studio, the drugstore, of Junior's Mama Little Baby that he wrote in Raw Deal.
Yeah.
And when we sent it to Sam, and Sam called Raymond back and told him, that thing sounds too much like That's All Right Mama. Said, just come on up and she'll tell you. So when we got up there, she told us to go down the street to Meteor Records. Leslie Harris would be waiting on us. And,
Right.
and so when we got down there, I'll never forget, he had that cigar and he's flipping that thing right in the face all the time he's talking to him. And Quentin Clunch
Yeah.
was there, Bill Cantrell was there that day, and they was ready. They was waiting on us, as a matter of fact. And Terry Thompson was with us, and Monty Ollie, and I can't for the life of me remember why Monty went with us. Because bless his heart, he was just a good old country self-taught piano
Yeah.
player.
Played that
and,
old barroom piano stuff.
yeah.
Old rinky-dink stuff, you know.
But if we could keep him and Terry out of that bar right next door long enough
Yeah.
to get to the studio, and
He loved the bar.
and Quentin played. I was telling George how that sound on that record. We didn't use drums.
No.
Dick Hunt was with us, but he wasn't good enough to play on the record. Quentin just took that piece of typing paper and ran it in between the strings on that acoustical guitar.
Sound like a snare drum.
Yeah, and
Wow.
he did it on it. And I played bass on Raw Deal, and Dexter Johnson played bass on Mama Little Baby.
Was that when Red Taylor was there? Was that another time?
Who?
Red Taylor, Merle Red Taylor?
No, Red wasn't there.
It was another time
Yeah, Red was there. Now, the Meteor did some stuff on Red. I think you was on that with him,
yeah,
wasn't
I played him. Me and Bill Cantrell played on
you? Yeah.
played fiddle on it.
Yeah, and Lyndon Smith had been up there. Just about all of the artists that was just really looking to try to get on Sun Records if they could was winding up down the street at Meteor Records.
Send them down there.
Because Sam, I mean, like the day we went up there, him and Judd was in the control room,
Yeah.
and I believe Roy Orbison was in there. It's been so long I can't remember. I know it wasn't Elvis or Johnny Cash, and it wasn't Jerry Lee Lewis.
Right.
Well, I think it was Roy Orbison.
Probably was.
And of course Sam, you know, he turns around and
That
waves
way
at us like
that
that.
way we interviewed in that girl's studio at radio station. He interviewed us. I mean,
Yeah.
auditioned us.
Yeah,
Sam did. Wasn't that where it was?
yeah, yeah, and like I said before, I mean, Les, I mean, he was just welcoming all that talent coming down there, and you know, he had Quentin's Lunch there doing kind of the A&R stuff
Yeah.
for him and everything. So, but Junior's, when we went, that lead me back to a funny thing. When we won the Pet Milk contest and we played on Ernest Tubbs, midnight show at the Record Rack across from Tuesdays there on Broadway,
Right.
and Mama's Little Baby kicked off almost like That's All Right Mama.
I know.
So Raymond kicked that thing off, and here we go. And Junior started saying, "Well, that's all right, Mama."
Oh, no.
and Ernest said, Junior, this is no time to be promoting Elvis Presley. You do your own song. And Junior was always, though, bless his heart, he was always so nervous on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, he would drop his pick at least 3 or 4 times sometime in one song. And he'd just wear his fingers out playing without a pick. But he was very, very nervous
At an
and
audience, and I think the audience kind of scared him a little, you know.
yeah,
Well, he'd get to wiggling his hips a lot too,
Yeah,
like
oh,
yeah,
Elvis.
that-
wouldn't
yeah,
he?
and Junior did that. See, a lot of people thought he was copying Elvis and what he did, but we did that before we'd
Oh,
ever
yeah.
laid eyes on Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And it was a different type of thing than Elvis done. Junior had those heel taps on his shoes. He had one on
Yeah.
his heel, one on his toes. He had some kind of way he could move that thing with his foot like that, and in
In rhythm.
time with the music.
Yeah.
And Junior was a good showman. He
He
was
was.
just so scared whenever he was on. And Elvis Presley was the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, he
First
was the
started.
same way, like at the old Sheffield Community Center. You know, I mean, he was like walking from one end of the back there to the stage so many times everybody was getting tired watching him before he went on, you know. But that's one thing I think some people are. It never bothered me. I don't think it ever bothered really any of us being
No.
nervous.
We felt comfortable up there, you know.
Yeah, and Aunt Christine
Kinda
always.
natural. She
Aunt
worked with us
Christine,
so much.
Aunt Christine would say, "Always smile like you're having a good time. If you do, the audience will have a good time."
She
That
said,
was
"You
her
gotta-
favorite saying.
And dress nice.
Yeah, and we always we was one of very few that we ran into. I won't never forget that time we was in New Orleans. That little green man was working down the street. They had green hair and green suits.
Gosh.
And
Wow.
but we always dressed alike. I felt like if people, you know, if you need to look nice if you're in the front of the public, that was another one about Christine. So
Yeah.
Were those little green men, was that part of the space thing?
Yeah.
Martian kind
yeah,
of
think so.
yeah,
deal?
yeah, it was, and they had a pretty decent group. They was kind of older fellows.
Yeah. It was another group.
We didn't pick up anything from them.
No.
Cotton
No, we had
Watts,
a-
maybe Cotton Watts, bless his old heart,
Yeah,
his
he
wife.
comedian, he
yeah.
tickled me to death.
But we met some, you know, when Jim Neighbors died a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Jim Neighbors, we
Yeah.
worked with him, you know, a few times. He
Yeah.
was such a nice guy.
Jerry Van Dyke.
Jerry Van Dyke.
We worked with him before we was ever, his brother Dick, you know, was in
Uh-huh.
Hollywood, but I was
Right.
working with Jerry Van Dyke at Biloxi. Gus Stevens down there, he'd on the show with us, playing a banjo.
Yeah.
And comedian too, you know.
Yeah, and but Jerry, he would always say he's gonna make it without Dick help. You know, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make it. And Dave Gardner, we worked with old Dave Gardner quite a bit.
Savior Grill.
Yeah, he was
Mobile.
an interesting guy.
So y'all work with a lot of people that, I guess famous people, you might say, that went on to do a lot of things. Who are some of the others? You named quite a few already. Do you?
And of course, in Shreveport, we met some. As soon as we got there in Shreveport, like I said before, the Louisiana Hayride had just died.
Yeah.
Maybe a year before. And the old building they were having it in there in Shreveport was next to being condemned.
Yeah.
So they let it go for a while. And Tillman Franks,
Yeah.
the promoter, Tillman, he was the one that come up with Wolverton Mountain wanted us to do, and we couldn't play it country enough, so that what's his name have it, but
Well, they kind of wanted y'all to
do-
host the.
the Louisiana
Yeah.
Hayride, say, and they wanted us to host the thing, and they were going to bring in they brought in like Flatt and Scruggs,
Yeah.
and people like that, trying to start it. Webb Pierce, I know Webb Pierce was drunk all the time, but and George, they brought George in, George Jones, but they were trying to do it in a new building. And trying to do it at a different time than they'd always done it. And a lot of times when you try to do stuff like that, people don't adjust to what you're trying to do, you know.
Right.
But we met a lot of stars. We got Johnny Rivers, you know, we got to see Johnny pretty often when he had Memphis.
Yeah.
Dale Hawkins, the Susie Q guy.
Susie Q, yeah.
And got to work with him. So, and it wasn't no time after we went there to stay that the strip there in Bossier City, which was on this side of the river, kind of like Florence is in Sheffield.
Right.
The strip was like small Las Vegas. That's when we did that NBC television show.
Oh,
Small Town USA. They come through there in '66.
Yeah.
And visited around some of the different clubs, and we didn't even know they were there, and they picked us. So we did a 15-minute show, and Ed's got a copy of that.
He does?
Yeah.
They showed us on NBC.
Yeah, we did 15 minutes. It's called Small Town USA.
Well, it's quite a strip back then, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Now were y'all playing there in Shreveport when Jerry Lee discovered you or asked you to
We was
come
in
and play
Monroe.
with him?
In Monroe.
Oh.
After we left the show bar.
See, we went to Nashville in the summer for a month, played Printer's Alley,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the time when we'd do that, we'd come back through Monroe and stay a month, and Linda working with Jerry's sister, and that's where we met Jerry. But the Rendezvous in Monroe was definitely one of our best favorite places with the following we had
Yeah.
there too. I mean,
He came out to see us and he had a late show that night, the East Side Club.
Yeah,
And he went on about 11, so Linda got him out there to see us, and his sister was playing a weekend with us or something, like Friday and Saturday night or something.
Yeah.
We'd back her up. And anyway, he came out to see us, and he had his road manager, Cecil, and his security guy, Dick West, with him. And we was all doing these shows, this kind of backup singing and stuff. And he wanted to hire the whole group.
Wow.
yeah, and you know, like I said before, I mean, they just situations where it just didn't work out for us.
Was that a little more than what you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, family-wise, I
Okay.
think. Yeah, well, my kids had gotten to the age where they was involved in stuff in school. The girls was in the Girl Scouts, and they thought to start getting in, you know, stuff. So we decided it probably wouldn't be best to do it, but and I think things work out the way the good Lord means for them to, for everybody. I used to didn't think that much about stuff like that, but I think, well, just like the chances, 3 or 4 times the chances we got to be, I'm talking about big.
Mhm.
It was just right there on the surface. And it fell the other way, and I think it fell the other way for a reason.
Yeah.
It didn't just happen. Like the Tommy Thomason, the RCA Victor traveling guy that come through
Oh, yeah.
Birmingham, and he had these songs. He was a roving talent scout for RCA Victor,
Mhm.
and he come to hear us one night. Well, he was at Carmichael. We was playing at Carmichael.
That's right.
That was before Kenneth come with us. And he had these songs he wanted us to try. And he knew how the writer, he had one time he had the writer with him. They wanted 2 guys to sing together, a duet. And we never had sang together.
Right.
Don did his songs by himself. Junior did his songs by himself. I wasn't singing them, but Raymond was, and the 3 of them. And so we tried this song. Junior and Raymond tried it first. Didn't sound right, but we was at Joe Rumore Studio, in his
Yeah.
basement, Joe Rumore Studio. And so then Don and Junior tried, and then Don and Raymond tried it. No, it just don't sound right. So he said, well, I'm going to Nashville, and I'll be back in 2 or 3 months. And I know I'm going to have some more songs, because we're going to have a song. Well, was it Wake Up Little Susie or Dream Everly Brothers? Come out with it as a big hit, you know.
Yeah.
We had a chance, but the sound the Everly Brothers had was just, and they wasn't the first ones that tried it in Nashville.
That's right.
It was their first hit they had, and it went close to #1 at Billboard. And we had a chance at that thing there for about a month trying to work it out, and we never could work out what they wanted. But that's just like that one we cut at Tyler, Texas with Sonny Joe Ivy.
Oh, yeah.
Sonny Joe Ivy was a singing state trooper
That's
in
right.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Well,
And
I'd like to hear some of that stuff.
he had one country song on that album, that it was about his mother that passed away a couple of years earlier, and he wanted steel guitar on it, and we looked at one another like, steel guitar? And they had one there, and Kenneth played steel guitar on that record.
I never played one before.
Wow.
I mean, I've been watching people some, you know, of steel, but I never, the laptop, you know. And so I said, well, I'll give it a shot, you know. So I learned enough to play on there, didn't I?
Yeah.
It wasn't a pedal steel.
It wasn't a pedal, no.
No, it was just one of them single thing, and I've been trying my best. I think I told George I've been trying to get a hold of that CD. See, Dr. Parkman and Ken DeMary financed that CD.
Yeah.
And it got hung up because Sonny got killed in a high-speed chase about 5 weeks after we did that album, and so it got tied up there at the studio, and Stan's got it now from Stan's Music Store in Shreveport. And I called him and asked him if I could come listen to it, and he wouldn't even let me come listen to it. He said no. I said, well, what are you going to do with it? He said he got it. See, it wound up at Malaco Records in Jackson, Mississippi, and I don't, and how Stan got it from Malaco, I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
But they were some good. I'm talking about some good stuff on that album.
Oh, yeah.
2 of the songs were going to be singles, and then Sonny was going to record 2 more, and we were going to go back 6 weeks later and record 2 more, and then he was going to come out with an album. I mean, he had a beautiful voice,
Yeah.
as good as Mark Denning, and Mark Denning, I always said, had one of the prettiest voices.
Yeah.
We had a chance to work with Mark for about a year too.
Yeah.
Bless his heart, he was really good. He was a
Great
good
guy.
singer.
Now, after Kenneth went with Jerry Lee Lewis, what happened with the band at that point?
Well, we went, Don Glass come and joined us, and the 4 of them, me and Raymond, Don, Ed, and Don Glass went to Galveston, Texas. And we played at Galveston, Texas at the Waltham Club. Had a Rathskeller restaurant, which is a German restaurant, you know, with sauerkraut and German stuff. Mm-hmm. And upstairs had the Waltham Club, and we worked there for a year. And when our contract ran out there, we come home and played here for about, and Marty joined us. Little nephew Marty.
Right.
Marty joined up with us, and Marty wanted to play guitar with us, but all the years that Raymond and Kenneth played guitar together, I mean, we had people from all over the world, or all over the country especially. The way they played guitar together was second probably to nobody. And Marty, he wanted to take Kenneth's place and play guitar. He'd been playing guitar with that little band with his cousins and everything. And we was playing at the Elks Lodge. And it didn't, finally Raymond told Marty, you know, I'm not hearing you. And we're not, so they had a B3 organ sitting over there at the corner. And Marty asked him, he said, does that belong to the club? And the guy said, yeah. Can I turn it on? And he said, yeah. So Marty went over and turned on that B3 organ and started playing that thing. And Raymond said, well, that's what we'll do. You can play B3. And so we went back to Louisiana, and had Marty been able to play keyboard then like he did up until he passed away, he would have been awesome in Louisiana. But we had to put that big B3 organ up on stage there at Show Bar, and it did all right. But and then in '71, well, we decided to come home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Marty went back with y'all, I guess.
Yeah, he went with us a couple of times.
But the 11 years that we got,
One time stayed for a couple of years, and he went with Freddie Hart.
yeah,
And he come back and played with Jerry maybe once after that. Played keyboard.
Yeah.
The first time he was playing bass.
yeah.
Now, talking about you and Raymond playing together, were you trading off lead?
Yeah, we knew what we could look at each other, and we'd do some twin licks, and we'd do some separate licks, and pick up off of, you know, when I take a ride, Raymond go to rhythm. When you take a ride, I go to rhythm, you know, and then we'd go and do some twin stuff, you know.
Wow.
And people never could understand how we could end a song and never look everybody was on.
Key.
I mean, when we got ready to end the song, we ended it and think, well, how'd they do that? You know, I mean, we'd done it so much. When you play 5 to 6 nights a week, 5 hours a night for 50 weeks, we used to take off 2 weeks.
Yeah.
50 weeks out of the year for 11 and a half years, you kind of pick up on that stuff.
We just look at each other, we knew what to do.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, everybody knew what the
4
other
years
one was
at the
going to
show bar.
do. Yeah. And
Man.
those comedy numbers we did, you know, that's one thing about Raymond and Don. That it's going to be a happy time. This is for us, but sad too on account of Raymond and Don.
Yeah.
They look forward to this so much, and they were two talented people.
Yeah.
I mean, Don was our utility man. Not only did he have a beautiful voice, he could play piano. If I was sick, he'd play bass. If Combs was sick, he'd play guitar.
Play
Ed was
drums.
sick, he'd play drums. I mean, he was just a talented
Yeah,
person.
Very versatile. Well, several of you were. With,
Yeah.
Raymond and Kenneth. You,
Yeah, we both played
Played
a lot of instruments. Raymond played sax, guitar, and banjo. And I played
Harmonica.
Harmonica, and I played the fiddle, guitar, and banjo, and mandolin, little, you know, just whenever we needed it, you know, we'd jump in.
Yeah, I tell everybody all I did was just play bass and cut up.
Well, you
Somebody had to
you
cut
got them
up.
laughing, you got them going.
Well, somebody had to cut up.
what kind of comedy routine did y'all have?
Well, we did some. We did Ray Stevens. They have the Arab,
Uh-huh.
and it was the way we did it after they started doing the banjo number. We picked up on that banjo number that Raymond and Kenneth did that themselves. We worked with Cotton Watts. He was a comedian. His wife did the stand-up, kind of like Gracie Allen and George Burns type of thing. But he dressed up like Al Jolson, you know, with the fluorescent paint and all that kind of stuff. So they come up with the idea to do the banjo numbers, which was very, very original and very good in our show. I mean, it
Yeah.
always went over real good because it showed versatility. But me and Raymond worked out our version of Ahab the Arab. Ray Stevens' song that he come out with, and Raymond wore it was a little bit too risque to do the show theater, but Raymond had an old dress, and it had I guess I can go ahead and say this. He can exit out. It had 6 faucets on the front, and he had fluorescent paint on the front of it, and he had this old wig that he wore, and he would turn his back, and we used black light. That we did for the banjo, and I started out singing it, and then went along, and then he comes out and he's got this old dress on, this wig and everything, and he does this routine, and it really just went over. It was strictly a nightclub thing. I mean, you wouldn't want to do it
Had
in
to do it
church.
every night at the show bar. Just to
Yeah, and we did that, and then during Christmas time we did Santa Claus is Back in Town, that Ray Stevens song
Yeah.
with the Santa Claus stuff, and we always tried to do something different. We would rehearse a couple of times a week, even if you just learned a couple of new songs.
Keep it changed
You
up
could,
a
you
little
could
bit.
change
Yeah.
stuff up, you know.
Staying there that long, you know,
And-
you had to
and
keep
the
up with the
The banjo number would
tunes
be,
that was out, you know, some would get
And that-
the tunes on the radio, you know. We learn them, you know.
and the fiddle number was, especially up north, we would do this rock and roll stuff, be playing like, you know, the Creedence songs or something, or Eagles or whatever. And then we'd end with this fiddle number, and the people were just blown away by us ending what we did with a hoedown on the fiddle. They would just go crazy, especially when we was out of the country. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
guys from Texas would be
Oh, yeah.
there, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well,
People were.
I was gonna say when one time was it before I went to y'all when I did that Maggie Sue Wimberly thing in Memphis? 55.
Yeah, that was before.
Before I went up and played Maggie Sue Wimberly's from the
Right.
area here. She's Sue Richards now.
Right.
But anyway, she had out when I cut this record, Sun Studios, and we went up there and me and Bill Cantrell played twin fiddles, And I got a picture. I'll have to bring it down. I'll get a copy and bring it later on. A picture. It's on Sam, on there. Sam, Dexter, Clinton Clunch, Dexter, and the guy playing steel. I know his name. I can't think of it. Anyway, he's playing steel and me and Bill playing fiddle.
Yeah, that was before.
What's his name? I can't think of his name on the steel. I know it. They got a picture. She got her name wrote on the picture. I'll have to get a copy of it and bring it down.
All right.
That's 1955.
Now, Sue went on to do background vocals
Tammy.
with Tammy.
Tammy Wynette, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, her and Donna Thatcher, didn't they do a couple of the Elvis? Didn't they?
With
They called
Elvis,
it Tramp with Elvis.
I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Aldrich, yeah. Yeah, but in that 55, that year 55, I think was when there's so many things that happened then where everything, like most shows music, it was being started, I think, and people didn't realize really what was happening.
Right.
That's the reason why I felt like when I saw the movie about most shows music, it had it shown where it actually really started as opposed to just starting with somebody after it already, like when they picked up on Rick Hall's part of it.
Yeah.
It's like capitalizing on something that started really, and the movement was there all the time.
Yeah.
From 50, but I think it really just started surfacing in 55.
Yeah.
Billy Sherrill, very talented person, Billy Sherrill.
Oh, yeah.
When we did that CD in '64 up there with Scotty and everything, I mean, he had done a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So Billy was one of them, and Junior Lowe and Terry Thompson and Raymond and Kenneth and
Kelso Hurston.
Carol Kelso was a big part.
Yeah.
Tommy Barner.
Yeah.
Mutt McCord was about the only drummer around. Bobby Cox started playing drums over the National Guard Army on Friday night sometimes, when y'all would play behind I remember when Marty Robbins come.
Yeah, Marty Robbins.
Marty was sitting in the back there playing. We heard somebody playing steel guitar. What was that? They had all them rooms in the National Guard Army in the
Yeah.
basement back in.
Playing it,
Marty
too.
Robbins was sitting back, boy, he was just playing that steel guitar like everything. Well, Don, of course, that's all he was doing.
That was his
Marty
outlet,
Robbins stuff. He was in this hog heaven when he saw
Yeah.
Marty Robbins sitting there. And Marty asked us that night, I said, well, y'all want, no, he said, first of all, I need to ask you something. I said, well, where's Phil Campbell, Alabama? And I said, well, you go down 43, like go through Russell and go on down and just stay on 43, and you'll have to go through, if 43 will go off to the right, but you just stay straight, and you'll have to go to Phil Campbell. He said, y'all want to make $5 tomorrow night? And of course, Don, his eyes had been bugged out. He was like on stems anyway by then. And he said, yeah. And he said, well, I'm going to need a little bit of help. Y'all want to go with me? So me and Don Raymond went with Marty down to Phil Campbell. He did a show at the movie theater in Phil Campbell. And he was such a humble, nice
Great
guy. Don never did get over that.
I know. Last time I seen Marty is we was doing a European tour with Jerry Lee, and about 2 years before he passed away, Marty was on the show. Like they had those country shows over there, and of course Jerry's playing country and rock, too. So he was there, and he was having little problems right then,
Yeah.
And but he was just a great guy.
Yeah. Great voice.
I loved his voice.
Oh yeah.
El Paso, we tore him up.
Yeah, boy, he could
Yeah.
write those songs
yeah.
too. He's a good songwriter.
Did y'all ever have any interaction with Sonny James?
Well, a
I
couple.
don't ever hear anything about him being in this area.
Well,
Been in Nashville.
No, he never was. Now we met him in Birmingham. Joe did advertise for Mom and Pop Logan in Hackleburg. They had that variety store there, so kind of like a clothing store, but they sold other things. That is the old building is still there. If you go
Right.
through Hackleburg, when you get to the flashing light, you look to the left, and the old building's still sitting there. Mom and Pop Logan's variety. And Joe had it was right before Bobby Denton come down with Father Star. And Sonny was there at one of the big automobile dealers out in Inslee. And Joe had him down there. And we went by there to see him, but we didn't play, but we went by to see him. And he appeared in Birmingham a few times, but most of the time, Sonny just, when he went to Nashville, he
Took off.
Yeah, took
And
off
when
and stayed in Nashville.
let's see, about probably 4 years ago, I ran into Sonny at a restaurant.
Oh.
He was eating, and then and one time after that, about 4 years ago, and then I heard he passed away, I think, a couple of years ago, something like that. But he was really nice. He was just
Oh yeah, he's just a down to earth
Down to
country
earth
guy.
guy.
Yeah, and most and really, whenever I think about it, most of those guys that we met were from Merle Haggard. They were just nice people. And I know when we did that pilot TV show in Shreveport with Nat Stuckey, they were Jimmy Ed Brown was down there, kind of involved with the Louisiana Hayride thing they was trying to start back, and he really wound up getting this syndicated show. Him and what's her name, Helen Cornelius.
yeah.
But Jim Ed, I mean, he'd get up and sing with us. You know, I mean, he was just nice as he could be too. All of them guys were. I don't remember any of them being. They just act like they was one of the guys. You know.
Yeah. I remember in Houston, Texas, we worked with Sonny with Jerry. You know, we worked a show together, a package show. And Sonny had all those singers with him. You know, he backup singers and stuff. And he had a good show, and he had a bus. You know, on the bus one night.
Yeah.
Talked to him a little bit. You know, that's way before I sang in Nashville. You know, probably 20 years ago.
It seems strange that he would have been in Hackleburg and not, since there was quite a bit of music going on in the shows there.
Yeah.
Even then, that he wouldn't have come over and played the Sheffield Community Center.
Yeah. I don't.
or the
I-
Florence Armory or something.
Right. I don't remember him ever doing it. Did you?
Yeah, I don't think he did.
No, he in Birmingham. You know, I mean, after we got there, like I said before, you know, we had quite a bit of dealings with Joe and Duke, both Rumor, and Joe was very good friends with his mom and daddy up at Hackleburg. But and that one time was the only time that I remember even seeing Sonny. And of course, we were only there a couple of years, you know.
Right.
But he was an extremely talented person.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I love everything he did was good.
Oh, yeah.
Every song.
Young Love.
Yeah.
That was a hit. Boy, that guitar, when he kicked off on that guitar, you know, that you knew he was going to sing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I tell you, it's been a long ride, isn't it?
Yeah, it has.
I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah, Raymond, one of the last things he asked me that Friday when I talked to him, he said, well, you heard anything from Hall of Fame? And I said, no, it's a little bit early, but I'm sure we probably will, but it's a little bit early. He was really, you know, he was really looking forward to it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And Don, bless his heart, he had gotten bad health so bad there the last year or two. And Marty's was so sudden. Of course, I mean, Marty wasn't with us all during the years that we did the things we did, but he was a big part of it when we got back together.
That's
You know,
right.
He was a big part. Marty was probably one of the most talented
Yeah.
on keyboard. I mean, I've watched and listened to a lot of keyboard, and
You're
I've never
great.
seen nobody that could even come close.
That's
to
right.
him.
You're good.
He had 32 settings on that thing, and he can play something on all 32.
I know.
Well, y'all have had quite a run. I do hate that Raymond and Marty and Don, you know, won't be able
Yeah.
to be here.
I'm sure they'll
That's-
be looking down on us, and,
Yeah.
and we'll be looking up at them. You and I know, you know, it'd be sad without them. You know, but it's I can't remember a couple of things. I just like I've been with Jerry this past May was 50 years.
Wow.
And then, but in between, and we'd go have reunions at the Show Theater with the Jets. We'd all get back together, and hadn't played together in a long time. But every time we just look at each other, and we just fell right in like we'd never stopped.
Right.
And still had a huge following.
When we got together that first time, we was going to practice for a couple of days before we started that CD.
Yeah.
We hadn't been there 10 minutes. Said, "What are we practicing for?" First song we did, we've been doing it for the last 3 weeks, and we hadn't done it in 35 years.
Just picked it right
Picked
back
it
up.
back up.
Picked it right up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's been a long road, but like I said before,
that's great.
a very, very good day for us in some ways, and sad.
We've all been blessed,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, to still be playing at our
Yeah.
age, you know,
Yeah.
still be doing anything at our age. Because I always tell everybody, we're not as young as we look, you know, whenever I
Yeah.
said something at Shows Theater, I go, golly, how old are y'all? You're not as young as we look.
Oh, everybody got a kick out of that.
Well, I think we've gotten some great information today from you guys that will go in the archives here at the Hall of Fame. And I hope at some point those archives will be opened up and available for researchers in the future to
Right. I
be
hope
able
so.
to investigate really the story of Muscle Shoals and the 5 Jets and all the different people that were involved that made all of this possible, that we are able to have the fruits of today with the Alabama Music Hall of Fame and
Right.
everything. So I appreciate y'all coming out today and sharing your stories with us. And
We want to appreciate you interviewing us, George. You've
Yeah.
done a great job doing it.
And you've always been supportive of us ever
Yeah,
since
we
all
really
this
appreciate
ever
what you
started.
did
We-
with us a long time ago when we
right,
were talking about it.
with your star originally
Yeah,
too.
and just
And then I've talked with-
helping us with the Jets and everything you did for us.
I've talked with Jimmy quite a bit about doing this, and you know, that's one of the things. Everybody's getting older, and you want to be able to recognize people and let them know how much they're appreciated before they die.
Right.
Yeah.
And man, so many people now are just getting on up in age that if I have any regret, it's that we can't bring more people in to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Capture what you
more
can
quickly.
while you can. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah,
I
but
think it's good.
Yeah.
But this place has really been something, though, to be as far as it is. Really, really something. There's a,
It'd be an honor for us.
yeah,
all
people.
to
I talked to
be here.
people back last year. We was eating breakfast down at Jackson. They said, I was talking about the Hall of Fame, and they said, "Where is that?" And I told them, and it was a church group from Christ Chapel Men's
Mhm.
Club, and that was on like Wednesday, and then the next week they all come over here, and they said their mouth dropped all the way down to the here when they saw it. They just thought it was some little place that you know. And they went back to the church and told, and then the next week the women's club all come over here. See, it was right here on Highway 72 in Tuscumbe, and he had to ask me where it was.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
so
wow.
this place, I told him, I said, you'll be amazed when you see it.
Absolutely.
You know.
A lot of people drive by here, you know, and they'll see a few cars out here, and because the parking lot is so big, they think, well, there are not many people there.
That's
But
right.
if you took those same cars and put them over at Fame or at 3614 Jackson Highway,
Oh, yeah.
it'd look like a big crowd.
Big crowd,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
This is really a nice Hall of Fame. It really is.
you know, I'm doing music tours now of the studios and the Hall of Fame. So
Oh, that's good.
if y'all run across anybody that you think would be interested in some stories, you know, I've got, and then I do, you know, as long as I worked here, I've got a lot of stories about the different inductees and
Absolutely.
people. So I try to do a real personal tour
Right.
of the different places, and now that Wishbone's opened up, and I've got a relationship with Billy Lawson, I can usually get in there,
Right.
and you know, nobody can get in there just walking in.
That's right.
They'd have to be with me, and the Nut House is the same way. So,
Right.
you know, if y'all,
See anybody, we'll certainly
Yeah.
turn them over to you.
Yeah,
We'll see
so
what
that,
we
yeah,
can
that
do.
would be, yeah, for
Do a great
luncheons
job,
and stuff,
George.
maybe some different group lunches, people that don't even know anything about stuff like this, like
Right.
the Ladies something society or whatever, you know, for a luncheon or something, that'd be good.
right,
Yeah, because, yeah, I knew Billy had told me, see, we was getting ready to do an album on Don Glass at Billy's studio. He was starting over there on 2nd Street. And I read up on him a few weeks ago, and he said he had Wishbone. So then
Yeah.
Raymond, you know, he just kept on about Raymond passing away so
Yeah.
suddenly and everything, so we're not going to get to do it. But,
He's a nice guy, Billy.
yeah, it's,
he is very talented.
Yeah,
yeah.
very talented.
Yeah, but we appreciate you doing this for us, George.
Really?
It meant a lot to us that you was handling it.
That's right.
All right. Well,
You've been there and done that, and you know how to do it.
that's right.
Thanks.
Appreciate it, George.
Thanks,
All right.
appreciate it very much.